p.m. East African time. It is the 30th day of March 2023. You are right in time for the Ebru TV Primetime News. A lot in store for you of everything that has happened in the country across our borders and beyond, and the latest in regards to everything that is of importance to you. My name is Samson Jura. Hello and welcome to the broadcast. But first, let's take a look at the stories making headlines tonight. 14 people killed as Pwani University bus collides with the matatu in Naivasha.
Within 2 months, pameanguka hapa zaidi ya magari 6. Na yote huwa yanaanguka kwa hii mtaro. Ombi langu ni kwamba na kilio cha wengi hapa na Naivasha mzima ya kwamba huu mtaro tuliwekewa hapa kama hawataufunika juu basi isibwa kabisa, sababu kama ule mtaro haungekuwa pale, ile gari yale maisha tumepoteza pale haingepotea.
Looting, destruction of property witnessed in Azimio's bi-weekly demonstration, with the outfit's leader Raila Odinga still calling on the Kenya Kwanza administration to address their demands.
Azimio imefika! Azimio imefika! Imeleta ukombozi! Azimio imesema gharama ya maisha ishuke chini, bei ya bidhaa muhimu ishuke chini, bei ya unga irudi chini.
Verified tax refunds claims to be payable within 6 months effective June 2023. President William Ruto says taxpayers to offset their claims against future tax liability if KRA fails to do so.
The issue of tax refunds has remained a thorn in the flesh for many companies. The government of Kenya is making again a policy shift on this matter, and as a result, effective June this year, all verified tax refund claims will be payable within 6 months.
You can give us your comments, questions, and/or suggestions in regards to our broadcast on our social media platforms at Ebru TV Kenya on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And just a reminder, this and much more is also available to you on our website at www.ebru.co.ke, where we are also streaming live this particular broadcast. And we begin with a sad story whereby 16 people, including a group of university students, died in Naivasha following a grisly road accident along the Nairobi-Nakuru highway. Over 50 others were injured, 30 of them seriously, following the accident that involved a Pwani University bus and a Nissan matatu at Kayole Estate, 10 kilometers from Naivasha town.
The midday accident occurred after the Pwani University bus that was destined to Eldoret from Nairobi developed mechanical breakdowns and rammed into the rear of a matatu. In the process, both vehicles veered off the road and landed into a ditch, killing 8 people on the spot, while another 6 were pronounced dead on arrival at Naivasha Sub-County Hospital.
Tumetolewa kwa nyumba na ambaye tumesikia mururuma mkali sana, ambaye tumesemesana hiyo ni gari ambaye inaweza kuwa imeanguka tukakimbia. Wakati tulipofika mahali hapa tumekuta ni kweli gari bus na Nissan ambaye ilikuwa inatoka eneo ya Nairobi ikielekea pande ya Nakuru, ikafurahi juu, ikakuja ikaanguka kwa mtaro, ikaumiza watu karibu wote.
Witnesses told how the speeding bus, whose brakes seemed to have failed, kept hooting and flashing its lights before hitting the matatu that had slowed down on the highway.
Dereva akajaribu kuepa mangali ambayo ilikuwa kwa barabara. Inapofika kwa barabara sasa kufurahi juu, ikakuja kwa hiyo mtaro ikatumbugia. Hapo ndio duru ikaanzia na watu wameweza kuumia vilivyo.
Nissan ilikuwa inachomoka, ikaigonga, ikatupa control, ikaenda basi Nissan ndio imeanzia, then basi ikaenda pale mbele ikaanguka.
According to Naivasha OCPD Samuel Waweru, the bus, which was full, was ferrying the students to Eldoret for college games when the accident occurred.
Ikakuja imeteremka. Bahati mbaya kukakuwa kuna Nissan ilikuwa mbele yake. Ika slow down juu ya kuruka brakes, kuruka bump. Ikapigiwa honi na ikaachiwa mataa. Still haikuondoka kwa barabara. In case hata ingeondoka tu kidogo, huyu dereva wa basi angeweza kuslice hii lori inapanda na hii Nissan.
Speaking on phone, he said that initial investigations had indicated the bus's brake system had failed, and in the process, it hit the Nissan Matatu that had 14 passengers.
Hapa mimi nimekuwa mmoja wao wa kuokoa majeruhi, kwa sababu hata kuna mmoja nimembeba kumfikisha hospitali akakuwa amekufa, ndio tena nikarudi hapa kufanya hiyo kazi ya bado kutoa watu kwa hiyo gari.
Gari ikiguswa tu kidogo ama ikifail brake kutoka Kenongi inakuja kuishia hapa.
Residents noted that the section of the road had become a black spot, with 6 accidents reported in the last 2 months, some blaming the recently constructed drainage for the deaths.
Within 2 months, pameanguka hapa zaidi ya magari 6. Na yote huwa yanaanguka kwa hii mtaro. Ombi langu ni kwamba na kilio cha wengi hapa na Naivasha mzima ya kwamba huu mtaro tuliwekewa hapa, kama hawataufunika juu basi isibwa kabisa, sababu kama ule mtaro haungekuwa pale, ile gari yale maisha tumepoteza pale haigepotea.
Calls have been made for the expansion of the road, with it being noted that cases of fatal accidents around the area were on the rise. Emmanuel Kutosi, Ebru TV.
Well, we hope the bereaved find solace during this particular time, and our prayer is that those that have lost their loved ones get to... Anyway, it's a sad story. Let's move away from that, where Azimio leader Raila Odinga has sent a stern warning to rebel leaders in the Azimio coalition, or rather Azimio legislators. Speaking earlier today at Imara Daima, where he led Azimio demos, Odinga said leaders elected under Azimio La Umoja coalition should remain in the coalition or resign and seek new mandate from the electorate. Davis Mberia has more on this story.
Few minutes past 2 p.m. today, Azimio La Umoja One Kenya caravan stormed in Embakasi, Nairobi County. Opposition leader Raila Odinga leading Azimio protests against President William Ruto's regime.
Azimio imefika! Azimio imefika! Imeleta ukombozi! Tunasema shukrani sana kwenu kwa kusimama imara, kuonyesha heshima na imani kwa ukombozi wa Kenya.
Odinga castigating the government for using police officers to intimidate protesters who he claimed have been staging peaceful protests.
Hata wakifanya nini? Lazima askari milioni 1, Kenya iko nguvu zaidi. Yes. Nguvu ya siasa ni wananchi, si wananchi.
Lazima tuwe chini ya utawala wa kikatiba na haki za mwananchi ziheshimiwe. Na kama si hivyo, Ruto must go.
Ambao wanaleta shida ni askari wa polisi, na leo tunasema polisi pia wana shida. Hakuna unga ya askari polisi na unga ya mwananchi wa kawaida. Kwa hivyo sisi pia tunawatetea wa askari polisi ambao wanatupiga tear gas. Nataka niambie hii serikali mbovu, serikali hii ni serikali ya aina gani? Badala ya kupatia watu chakula, wanapatia watu tear gas. Badala ya kulinda mali ya wananchi, wanaenda kuiba mbuzi na kondoo ya wananchi. Badala ya kupatia watu maji ya kukunywa hapa Nairobi, wanamwaga maji. Nataka niambie Ruto, we are coming there and we are coming for you.
Azimio leaders insisting they will not back down until their demands are met.
Azimio imesema gharama ya maisha ishuke chini, bei ya bidhaa muhimu ishuke chini, bei ya unga irudi chini, mafuta ya kupika irudi chini, petroli irudi chini, diesel irudi chini, sukari rudi chini, stima rudi chini, kodi ya nyumba rudi chini, karo ya shule rudi chini. Mnaunga mkono? Tunataka huu ujumbe ufikie William Ruto. Dawa ya hii maandamano ni unga. Hatutaki maneno mingi. Tunataka nini? Tunataka nini? Tunataka nini? Awache maneno mingi, ashukishe bei ya unga ifike shilingi 70 vile aliahidi, si ndio?
Odinga, however, sent a stern warning to Azimio leaders who rebelled, saying leaders elected under Azimio should remain in the coalition.
Walichaguliwa na Azimio, wabaki kwa Azimio. Kama wanataka kutoka, warudi kwa wananchi, wachaguliwe upya.
In February this year, a group of Azimio leaders, led by Kisumu Senator Tom Ojenda and Langata Member of Parliament Felix Aduor, alias Jalango, visited President William Ruto at State House in Nairobi and pledged to work with him. The meeting was seen as part of the president's strategy to counter the opposition chief.
Tumemwambia Bwana Ruto, waacha vyama, waacha Azimio, hapana nunua wajumbe wa Azimio.
Davis Mberia, Ebru News, Nairobi.
Thank you, Davis. And a section of leaders in Busia have today joined Azimio supporters in their third protest to pile pressure on President William Ruto's administration to address demands by the Azimio coalition. They want President Ruto to lower the high cost of living Kenyans are grappling with.
Na tumechoka na maisha. Maisha inatuangamiza, hakuna kusomesha watoto, hatuna unga, jamani tunakufa juu ya njaa. Polisi pia wanatusumbua, tukikuja kumandamano mzuri wanatusumbua na wanatuangamiza. Tusiishi wapi, tuko kwa Kenya gani? Na tulitafuta imani miaka iliyopita.
Sisi ni wamama, sisi ndio tuko jikoni, vitu zinapanda, ulipiga kura kutuiba. Maisha sasa ni ngumu, tunateseka, hakuna unga, arudishe bei ya unga chini. Tuko kwa barabara tunafanya maandamano ya amani.
In Kondele, injunction with our brothers and sisters about the issue of maandamano, and indeed you can see what is in Kisumu. Our brothers are on the streets and they are demanding of what Baba says. Life is so difficult, things are very much expensive. The Baba is requesting that the server should be open so that we get to know exactly who won this particular election. You know, today, the daily, every day, the government is increasing the cost of the fuel. The cost of living has become so high. The common mwananchi cannot manage. So I'm really wondering why the government is not listening to the
Mimi nawahakikishia kwamba maandamano haya yataendelea. Maandamano yataendelea mpaka ile siku ambayo utaona kama saba imefunguliwa na mambo ya kimsingi ya Busia na wananchi wa Kenya wote imezingatiwa. Baba! 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 Baba!
Still on that, a rowdy crowd of anti-government protesters today torched offices belonging to President William Ruto's United Democratic Alliance Party in Karemo area, Siaya County. This is the second UDA office to be set ablaze during protest after angry demonstrators broke into, vandalized and eventually torched offices belonging to the party in Kisumu last Monday.
Normal business was brought to a standstill in Siaya town as Azimio supporters held their third protest. Demonstrators who heeded calls by Azimio Umoja leader Raila Odinga to picket in a bid to force the government to heed to their demands, among others bring down the cost of living, stormed the compound hosting the UDA offices along Siaya-Luanda Road and set it ablaze. As tongues of fire consumed the building, the demonstrators who had blocked the road cheered loudly as they barred anyone who tried to help put off the fire. Police officers from Siaya Police Station in full riot gear arrived later and lobbied tear gas canisters to disperse the rioters who ran helter-skelter. The inferno led to an exchange of blame between UDA supporters in Siaya and local Orange Democratic Movement leaders from Siaya. UDA member Margaret Anyango, alias Jabalo, blamed ODM officials for being behind the incident.
And we gave an office, one of our homes as office in Siaya that has been working for UDA. We had an office of UDA in Siaya. They have demolished the house of UDA, the offices of UDA, totally gone. Imevunjwa yote. It is all gone. They have stolen everything, including the furnitures in the house of workers that have been staying there to look after the property.
According to Margaret Anyango, the demonstrators further threatened to attack UDA members in their homes to teach them a lesson.
Now, they are saying that they are still coming back to come and see that they enter into our homes also to steal everything from us.
However, Siaya Women Representative Dr. Christine Ombaka and GEM Constituency ODM Chairman Nick Kochola distanced ODM from the incident, saying the party and its leadership has always stood for peaceful demonstrations.
The demonstration that we've been involved in have never been violent. Even today, nobody has been hurt. Yes. People are speaking peace, and people are demonstrating for a reason. Demonstration has a reason. We know that our election was stolen, and we are demanding one simple thing: open the server. We are asking for more, because these are crimes that are being committed economically. The prices are going up every single day. Prices of sugar, prices of cooking oil, prices of diesel, school fees is also climbing up, and our children cannot go to school. Yes. These are reasons, and these are expressions of disappointment.
ODM Chairman Nico Chola alleged that several youth had been sent to the county by UDA mandarins, adding that UDA must blame its goons.
We are very much aware that the government brought in people in Nyanza to infiltrate demonstrations. Correct. And this is one example which has happened in Siaya. They come, they ban their own office so that they want to blame it on us. As we are doing peaceful demonstration, we are not destroying anything. Why is it today that that office was banned? It has been there, we've been seeing it. So that office was banned by the UDA people themselves. The same way they banned their office in Kisumu. So we have nothing to do with that, that's their own problem.
It is the second UDA office to be set ablaze during the Azimio protests after angry demonstrators broke into, vandalized and eventually torched offices belonging to the party in Kisumu last Monday. Davis Mberia, Ebru News.
Still on matters demonstration, the only discussion we'll have with opposition leader Raila Odinga is how he will exit Kenya's political space. Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has said. Gachagua, who is in Mombasa to commission some 500 Kenyan seafarers to join international shipping lines, said Odinga has been unfair to the Kenyan people. He added that Raila has over the years been forcing his way into government through the back door, saying that they have been approached by the international community and clergy to engage Raila in dialogue.
President of the Republic of Kenya.
We have told our international partners who are pushing us to sit with Raila Odinga. We have told church leaders who are telling us to sit with Raila Odinga that we are willing to sit with him, but not to discuss his forceful entry into government. We are telling our friends that we cannot violate the Constitution. Our Constitution has no provision for Raila Odinga to come into government through the back door. And we are telling our friend, our elder Raila Odinga, the only way to get into government is through the ballot. There's no other way. You have gotten away too many times. You brought violence, you destroyed property, you sowed fear. Unfortunately for you, the President of the Republic of Kenya and his deputy cannot buy fear. You are saying? You have embarked on destruction of property in Nairobi and Kisumu. You have interrupted businesses as you pursue selfish agenda. But your time is up, and I'm happy Kenyans are getting tired. Today in Nairobi, work is going on. People have opened shops, business is going on, and that is the way to go. These demonstrations will fizzle away. Now it's Kibra and Kisumu. By next week, it will be Kisumu. By the other week, it will be in his home. So we want Kenyans to join the people of Coast. And I'm so excited that we are here anchoring 500 young men and women to go and do something useful for themselves and the country. When our elder brother is encouraging young people to throw stones at other people and to loot property and to cause chaos and mayhem. It's unfortunate, and we tell Raila Odinga, you have been very unfair to this country. You have been very unfair to this country. It's about time you made a decision. And come, sit down with the President William Ruto and discuss one agenda only. Your exit from the Kenyan political space and permanent retirement.
Away from matters, demonstrations and politics, President William Ruto has today announced the construction of a 66 billion Kenya shillings Moderna vaccine facility in Nairobi. Speaking during the American Chamber of Commerce Region Business Summit, the head of state said the facility will be the first of its kind in the continent. This is, however, not the first time the vaccine facility is being announced, as former President Uhuru Kenyatta last year witnessed the signing of a memorandum of understanding between Kenya and Moderna to establish the factory. Kenyatta at the same time said the state-of-the-art Moderna facility would produce up to 500 million doses of vaccines each year.
It is with pleasure that I announce a finalized deal between Moderna and the government of Kenya to build a $500 million mRNA vaccine facility in Nairobi. This will be the only such facility on the African continent.
The relations between Kenya and the US is strong and getting stronger. We are now at the final stages, or advanced stages of negotiating our strategic trade and investment partnership between Kenya and the United States. Last month, we had our first round of negotiations, and next month, after the first round in Washington, D.C., we are going to host the U.S. delegation for the next round of negotiations.
Mr. President, we applaud your leadership and your efforts to drive inclusive and sustainable economic growth in Kenya. We appreciate your commitment to enhance the investment climate and make businesses thrive. Indeed, American companies continue to invest in the Kenyan economy, and American companies have been here a long, long time.
And in the corridors of justice, Rally ace Maxine Wahome has been freed on a 2 million cash bail following an application by her lawyer in a murder charge. Maxine was freed after Justice Lillian Mutende established that she was not a flight risk and has not interfered with witnesses or was likely to, as claimed by the prosecution. Maxine denies killing her boyfriend Asad Khan, who succumbed to injury in hospital after an alleged fight at the Kileleshwa home in December of last year.
Indicated that he visited the scene, which was documented, mentioned, can be covered while the suspect is out on bond. And therefore, it is the finding of the court that the applicant has not presented any compelling reasons to warrant issuance of.
And residents of Jacaranda area of Malindi sub-county are living in fear following the brutal murder of a village elder come land rights activist more than a week ago. The residents believe 49-year-old Eric Mwanyonyo Mwanzani was executed due to his role in fighting for land rights within the Chembe Kabambache settlement scheme, where he was also the chairman of the local land allocation committee. Speaking at the late Mwanzani's home, where burial arrangements are ongoing, family members and neighbors said they feared for their lives and called on the police to speed up investigations into the heinous crime.
Tulikuja vamiwa siku ya Jumatatu na jioni. Tulikuwa tunakula chakula cha jioni pale sitting room. Na hao watu ambao walikuja hatukuwajua, lakini walipokuja walikuwa kuna bunduki kubwa na upanga ambao ulinolewa ukali sana. Alafu wakasema kwamba wamekuja kumaliza ushahidi. Sasa vile wamemuua huyo bwanangu, sasa ni kama imebaki mimi ndo ambao nimebaki wananitafuta waje waniue. Sasa naomba serikali iwe simama kati, kwa sababu kwamba kuna kesi ambayo inaendelea kotini, na ninadhania hao ambao tunagombezana huko kotini ndio wameleta hao magaidi kuja kutuua sisi.
Ningependa serikali itusaidie kwa jambo hili. At least tuweze kujua hao wenye walifanya huu nyama huu. Maana mtaa huu haujafanyika kitu chochote kama hichi. Na pia community nzima sahihi kwa hofu, maana hazijui hizo bunduki ziko wapi na hajui kama bado watatufuatilia. Sisi wenyewe hatujui kama bado watatufuatilia ama ndo alienda. Na pia hata watu wengine pia wako hofu, maana sasa hivi watu wanaogopa hata kutembea maybe na usiku kwa sababu ya hiyo kisa ambacho kilifanyika. So ningependa serikali ichukulie jambo hili kwa mkazo sana, tuweze kuwapata hawa jamaa na tutashukuru sana. Na pia kuna shamba lingine pale kwenye tuliokota karatasi 2018 mpaka tukaipeleka polisi, tukachukua OB. Mama na mzee walipeleka, inasema kuwa alikuwa anataka kichwa cha mzee wangu na mamangu. Alafu kulikuwa iko na saini ya mapanga, hiyo karatasi ilikuwa inasema hivyo. Hadi OB yake iko pale polisi Watamu.
Vile ambavyo hakuna uchunguzi wote ambao sisi tunauona ukiendelea, hatuwezi jua kama saizi wanaweza kuturudia tena. Maana sasa hata polisi, at least tungekuwa na polisi ambao wanapiga ziara. Hakuna polisi ambaye anapita kuzunguka kuonyesha kwamba at least wanaonyesha effort ya kutafuta kile kifaa ambacho hatujui kilitoka vipi. Lakini hakuna. Sasa hapa hatari kukaa na amani, hiyo ni uongo. Sio sisi, hata majirani wenyewe pia kutembea na usiku imekuwa shida.
Even so far hatujaambiwa lolote, nothing is going on. Na imekuwa sasa shida hata jamii kuishi hapa. Kwa sababu we are not informed of what is going on. Na pili, hata jamii hapa, maana wameanza hapa, isipochukuliwa hatua madhubuti zaidi, they will continue, wataendelea tu katakata kila mnyonge ambaye labda analia shamba lake na hana uwezo, itabidi akatwe ili watishike waondoke, wachukue mashamba. Na singesema sana, lakini naona kama kwamba ni vitu vinaeleweka. Maana raia hawezi akawa na AK47. Yes. It is impossible. Yeah. Raia hawezi akawa na AK47. Hiki ni kifaa cha ulinzi.
Sahi mzee wetu ameuawa. Mzee wetu ameuawa na hana vita na mtu yoyote huku, na hakujauawa mtu yoyote. Tunadhania ni haya mambo na mashamba. Kwa hivyo tunaomba serikali, hata sisi ambao tumebaki majirani na tuko wengi katika hizi eneo. Tuko wengi, maana ni miji mitupu ya watu. Kwa hivyo tunaomba serikali itutetee, ituangalilie haki yetu. Maana hata sisi nasi huenda wakati wote tukaingiliwa manyumbani na kuuawa kama mzee wetu hivyo ambavyo ameuawa. Tukauawa mmoja na mabwenyenye mpaka tukaisha, mabwenyenye wakachukua ardhi.
And with that we head for a fast short break. Don't go too far, more coming up. Welcome back. Glad you're still with us. Let's take a look at what's happening in the international front. Analysts say Sudanese economy is in dire shape, struggling under the weight of high inflation and the suspension of debt collection by Western nations since last October's coup. Take a look.
Salah Awad Hamad is a butcher in Omdurman, Sudan's most populous city.
He says his income went from 100,000 Sudanese pounds per month to 10,000 in the past 3 years as inflation in Sudan runs out of control.
I will not lie. 3 years ago, our situation was much better, even though the country was suffering from an embargo. The real problem is political conflicts. This country is ruined by politicians.
Many who spoke to VOA in Sudan say the political deadlock as military leaders try to retain control of the country instead of handing it over to civilians is having a negative impact on the standard of living. One expert said,
people don't have purchase power to buy anything. The majority of people at this point are really suffering. Again, we don't have reliable data, but we know, based on some UNICEF surveys, at least 50% of Sudanese children under the age of 5 are really malnourished and not having access to enough food.
In a recent interview with VOA, Sudanese Finance Minister Jibril Ibrahim expressed frustration at debt relief being held up by the international community since the military took power in 2021. He says it will be easier to bring the economy back under control once Sudan gets
civilian government satisfactory to the West. So we don't know whether the goalposts will move. We get the civilian government. They may ask for something else. They are not going to hurt those who are ruling, but they are going to hurt the ruled.
A recent overhaul relating to the state's finances has led to criticism that the military government, which analysts say is inherently corrupt, is attempting to gain more control of the economy. Asked if that was the case, Ibrahim said,
actually that's not true. The initiative came from the Minister of Finance. We have companies wholly owned by the public sector, but we have no say over what they do and how they spend their money. And that's why we tried to show that the Minister of Finance have control over the public finance.
Sudan's links to Russia and the Kremlin-linked paramilitary group Wagner have been well publicised in the media. A report by the Organised Crime and Corruption Reporting Project, an investigative journalism non-profit, found Wagner working with political and military figures in Sudan to exploit the country's gold. Ibrahim said that his ministry, at least, was doing no such thing.
I don't see much of a financial link between Sudan and Russia. Possibly the military may have some connections of buying arms. Directly with the Minister of Finance, we don't have anything. No concession is given to Wagner.
As for ordinary people in Sudan, they say they just want to see an improvement in living standards. Jassim Allah Bakir Abdallah sells petrol by the side of the road.
Let me tell you something. I don't support civil or military governments. I only support successful governments.
Sudanese authorities have said a civilian government will be formed on April 11th. Henry Wilkins for VOA News, Khartoum, Sudan.
From North Africa, we head further south to South Africa, where as the world marks International Day of Zero Waste on Thursday, South Africa is taking steps to ensure that those collecting recyclables from homes and rubbish dumps register, so they will be eligible for benefits such as higher payments for the items they collect. Authorities say this is necessary because the work they do contributes to the economy and helps fight against climate change.
Landfill sites like this one in Cape Town, South Africa, are packed with plastics, paper and cardboard that should be recycled but aren't. A 2018 Statistics South Africa report estimated that only 10% of materials in the country are recycled, and waste pickers are responsible for most of that. One of them lives in Khayelitsha, just down the road from the landfill. Nompumelelo Njana is a waste picker and provincial coordinator of the African Reclaimers Organization, which has successfully lobbied the national government for official recognition for their work and for assistance from the country's municipalities. The assistance could include protective gear and collection bins.
The city of Cape Town is busy to make uniform and the trolleys, because we haven't got something to go around to collect the recycling.
With one of the highest unemployment rates in the world, South Africa recognized that recycling provides work and helps to combat climate change because in many cases using recycled materials to make new products emits fewer greenhouse gases than starting from scratch. Njana and her fellow waste pickers not only get money by recycling but also make products from the refuse they collect, things like bags and doormats and small cardboard traditional houses.
My children, they go to school with that money for the recycling.
Waste picker Alistair Rudolph is at a buyback centre which serves as a middleman between the pickers and recycling companies in Parow, where he's received just under $2 for his recycling efforts.
I don't actually work. I'm looking for work actually. I brought in some lights and alley cans and cardboard. So I got back in, so I received 36 rand, and I'm gonna buy a 10 rands power. Something for the food.
Professor Katarina Schenk is the research chair of Waste and Society at the Department of Social Work at the University of the Western Cape. She says the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research is registering waste pickers so that they can receive help from the municipalities they operate in.
Between 60 and 90,000 waste pickers in South Africa, that's the estimate. They haven't been counted, and I think this registration process will help to get a really good idea of how many pickers there are.
She says those who are registered will soon be getting more money for the items they bring for recycling. That's thanks to the Extended Producer Responsibility Act, which has been implemented since last year. It says producers and packagers must keep their products in the recycling loop even after consumers are through with them.
So the producers are now made responsible to see that their products are coming back. So it's not all products yet, but it is plastic, it is the e-waste, products like that.
Schenk says a big stakeholder meeting will be held in April to measure the progress made with support for waste pickers. The initiative is a noteworthy way to mark the United Nations International Day of Zero Waste, which aims to promote sustainable production and consumption. Vicky Stark for VOA News, Cape Town, South Africa.
Let's cross our borders now into the Ukraine. Now, since Russia invaded Ukraine more than a year ago, the United States has earmarked about $113 billion in military and humanitarian aid for Ukraine, making it one of the largest ever assistance packages approved by the U.S. government. Investigators assured lawmakers Wednesday the money is being strictly monitored to ensure it is being used as Congress intended.
A recurring plea from Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky.
We're in war and we need money.
$113 billion in American assistance has helped fund the fight against the Russian invasion, a cost many U.S. lawmakers say is worthwhile.
Our effort isn't just about Ukraine and its citizens. This struggle is for democracies around the world and free people standing up to brutal autocrats like Putin.
But there are questions about whether that funding is being spent properly in the chaos of a war.
I'm in support of a 100% audit. I want an absolute transparency on where every dollar has been spent.
Last year, Speaker of the House Kevin McCarthy said the United States will not write a blank check to Ukraine. 3 U.S. government investigators overseeing aid told lawmakers Wednesday there are no substantiated instances of fraud to date.
This has got to be reassuring to the American taxpayer that indeed it's trust but verify in every effort. And then let's be real too. It's in the interest of the people of Ukraine that there not be any misappropriation of equipment, because these are educated people. They realize that that would alienate the American public.
But some Republicans expressed concern about U.S. aid paying Ukrainian government salaries and pensions, especially as many Americans are struggling economically.
How's that not just paying Ukrainian government officials that go shopping in Paris or whatnot?
Investigators say that money is only reimbursed once expenses are approved. Earlier this week, a Senate proposal to unite all Ukraine aid under one investigator failed to pass.
Let's create one government watchdog, not 2, not 3, not 20, one government watchdog to oversee every cent that is spent on Ukraine, to report back to this Congress and to the American people as to how their hard-earned money is being spent.
A proposal that could be revived when a new round of aid to Ukraine is debated later this year.
Congress is a marketplace of ideas, and that's where debate is good. But I do think the people of Ukraine need our support. They deserve our support.
On Wednesday, the U.S. announced a new $400 million security assistance package for Ukraine. Catherine Gibson, VOA News, Capitol Hill.
Now let's take a look at what is happening in the world of sports, where it is perhaps one of the most difficult journeys Kenya Sevens team has ever embarked on in the World Rugby Series campaign, with relegation hanging over their sleeves. Shujaa takes on series leaders New Zealand in their pool doping opening duel of the Hong Kong Sevens at the Hong Kong Stadium at 9:45 p.m. on Friday. They will then confront Ireland at 6:28 a.m. before renewing their continental rivalry with South Africa in their last pool outing at 10:25 a.m. on Saturday. Kenya Sevens dropped one place once again to 13th place in the series despite finishing 10 in Vancouver Sevens.
By the Kenyan defence for now, still alive though. Here's Ross McCann, looks for the dish, finds Emery, and there you go. Just commit that defender, get the ball away, and it's a walk-in for Tom Emery.
And we've come to the end of the broadcast tonight. Many thanks indeed for keeping us company from the beginning until this particular juncture. Remember, you can also continue interacting with us across our socials at Ebru TV Kenya on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And of course, this and much more is always available to you on our website at www.ebru.co.ke. That's been it. My name is Samson Jura. Do have yourself a lovely night and goodbye.